Welcome to the ServSafe Test Prep. This is the ServSafe Manager's purchasing, receiving, and storage of food test. This test consists of 53 questions with explained answers. So let's get started. Question 1. To avoid food spoiling in the refrigerator or freezer, which of the following actions is always recommended? A. Placing a date of arrival on all foods. B. Smelling the food to make sure it is fresh. C. Ordering fruits for a few days at a time only. D. Placing the oldest product on top of new product. The correct answer is option A. Placing a date of arrival on all foods. Placing a date of arrival on all foods that enter the restaurant helps to avoid food spoilage since it gives you a firm answer as to when the food arrived. From here, you can determine the shelf life of the individual ingredient so that there is no question as to the freshness. While the remaining answers might have some merit, they are incomplete and do not assure the date of entry into the restaurant. Question 2. Foods should not be kept in the danger zone for more than A. 1 hour, B. 4 hours, C. 10 hours, D. 1 8-hour shift. The correct answer is option B. 4 hours. Food should not be kept in the danger zone for more than 4 hours. Any amount of time more than 4 hours is considered long enough to allow food pathogens to grow to dangerous levels within the food. Question 3. Foods that are decomposed or produced in unsanitary conditions are considered A. Potable, B. Gourmet, C. Adulterated foods, D. Potentially hazardous foods. The correct answer is option C. Adulterated foods. Adulterated foods are foods that are decomposed or have been produced in unsanitary conditions. Since these two conditions will most certainly lead to foodborne illness, it is important to label foods with their date of entry into the restaurant, as well as source foods from reputable sources. Question 4. Of the following listed foods, which category requires you to save and store tags related to the date and place of origin? A. Ground beef, B. Raw chicken, C. Raw vegetables, D. Clams and oysters. The correct answer is option D. Clams and oysters. Clams and oysters and other crustaceans require that you remove and save the tags, which display information regarding the date and place of origin. Since these two foods are often eaten raw and are associated with foodborne illness, it is important that you keep the tags related to any of these products in your records. Question 5. A package of opened hot dogs should only be used for no more than which amount of days? A. 1 day, B. 2 days, C. 5 days, D. 1 week. The correct answer is option D. 1 week. A package of opened hot dogs should only be used for a period of 1 week or less. Any time above this limit might result in foodborne illness. Question 6. At what temperature maximum should your refrigerator be kept at all times? A. 30 degrees Fahrenheit, B. 32 degrees Fahrenheit, C. 40 degrees Fahrenheit, D. 45 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is option C. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Your refrigerator should always be kept at a temperature of 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Since the danger zone starts at 41 degrees Fahrenheit, it is important to keep all perishable foods at a temperature of 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Question 7. Which of the following foods is considered a potentially hazardous food? A. Flour, B. Vinegar, C. Saltines, D. Strawberries. The correct answer is option D. Strawberries. Strawberries are considered a potentially hazardous food. This is due to the perishable nature of strawberries and the fact that they need to be refrigerated to avoid decomposition. For this reason, it is important to limit the amount of time the fruit remains out of the refrigerator. Question 8. It is the middle of a service and your walk-in refrigerator has broken down. You call the repairman to fix the problem. How much time can the foods in the refrigerator hold above 41 degrees Fahrenheit before you need to throw them away? A. 1 hour, B. 2 hours, C. 4 hours, D. 8 hours. The correct answer is option B. 2 hours. Foods can be stored for 2 hours above the temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit if your refrigerator breaks. If your food remains above this temperature for more than 2 hours, you should throw all the perishable foods in the refrigerator in the garbage. For this reason, it is important to get some form of insurance when running your food service establishment. Question 9. To ensure that all foods susceptible to foodborne illness are maintained at a proper temperature, which of the following areas require some form of temperature monitoring? A. Thermometers on dishwashers. B. Thermometers at all cooking stations. C. Thermometers in refrigerators and freezers. D. All of the above. The correct answer is option D. All of the above. All of the above are areas require some form of thermometer to ensure that foods that are susceptible to foodborne illness can be controlled within the proper temperature. While a thermometer might seem awkward on a dishwasher, making sure the dishwasher reaches the proper sanitation temperature is extremely important to ensure a safe food supply. Question 10. Which item has not been stored properly? A. Flour stored on the floor. B. Tomato stored in the refrigerator. C. Rice stored in colored plastic containers. D. All of the above. The correct answer is option A. Flour stored on the floor. Flour stored on the floor is not a proper way to store any dried good. In fact, any food that touches the floor has not been stored properly and should be thrown out immediately. To ensure good food practices, it is important to store foods no less than 6 inches from the ground. Question 11. Perishable foods should not be left at room temperature for more than A. 2 hours, B. 4 hours, C. 8 hours, D. 24 hours. The correct answer is option A. 2 hours. Perishable foods should not be left at room temperature for more than 2 hours. This ensures that foodborne pathogens do not have the time to reproduce to harmful levels. Question 12. Which of the following is a potentially hazardous food? A. Dry rice. B. Ice cream. C. Canned soda. D. Caraway seeds. The correct answer is option B. Ice cream. Ice cream is considered a potentially hazardous food. In addition to melting, ice cream which is exposed to temperatures with the danger zone, then refreezed, can allow microbes time to increase in number within the ice cream, making the dessert unsafe to consume. Question 13. The cold storage time for ground beef in a refrigerator set to 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below is A. 1 to 2 days, B. 3 to 4 days, C. 5 to 6 days, D. 7 to 10 days. The correct answer is option A. 1 to 2 days. The cold storage time for refrigerated ground beef is 1 to 2 days. Any amount of time beyond this limit will increase the chances of foodborne illness caused by E. coli and other pathogens. Ground beef is of particular concern due to the anaerobic nature of the ground meat. Question 14. Which event could lead to the contamination of food? A. Storing chemicals on top of rice. B. Washing hands at designated sinks. C. Labeling food with the date of receipt. D. Using separate cutting boards for cutting raw meat and vegetables. The correct answer is option A. Storing chemicals on top of rice. Storing chemicals on top of rice can lead to the contamination of food. If the chemicals ever leak, they can easily make their way to the rice. To avoid this situation, make sure to store cleaning chemicals in a different section of the restaurant. Question 15. When you are receiving a food order from one of your suppliers, it is important to A. Talk to the driver about the weather. B. Make sure all items on the invoice have arrived. C. Check the internal temperature of potentially hazardous foods. D. Have all personnel in the restaurant help you unload the goods. The correct answer is option C. Check the internal temperature of potentially hazardous foods. Checking the internal temperature of potentially hazardous foods should occur when receiving an order from a supplier, since it is quite possible for PHFs to increase in temperature above 41 degrees Fahrenheit when being transported in the truck. It is important that you monitor the temperature of these foods when they arrive at the restaurant. Question 16. In what area of the restaurant should pesticides be stored? A. In the dry storage area. B. In a locked compartment. C. With the cleaning solutions. D. In the line area of the restaurant. The correct answer is option B. In a locked compartment. Pesticides should be stored in a locked compartment within the restaurant. This locked compartment should not be mixed with any other good inside the restaurant, even if the good is for cleaning purposes, since pesticides can lead to extremely serious, if not deadly, health risks. It is important to sequester these chemicals to a place that only management can access. Question 17. Under which listed condition should you reject the delivery of a carton of raw chicken? A. The carton says USDA organic. B. The chicken is firm when touched. C. The chicken is wrapped in plastic wrap. D. The surface temperature of the chicken is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is option D. The surface temperature of the chicken is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. A shipment of chicken should be rejected when the surface temperature of the meat is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature is a serious indication that the chicken has been transported in a van or truck that has a broken refrigerator unit or has none at all. Since you cannot accurately assess the amount of time the chicken has been exposed to such high temperatures, it is best that you reject the delivery. Question 18. Which one of the following food sources is considered unapproved for serving in a restaurant? A. Local farm. B. McDonald's. C. Local food distributor. D. National food distributor. The correct answer is option B. McDonald's. McDonald's is not an approved food source for serving in a restaurant. While there is no food safety violation with McDonald's food, it is illegal to buy finished foods at any restaurant and serve them in your own restaurant. Question 19. If you are preparing a fish dish that contains clams and mussels and notice the clams and mussels are open before cooking, you should A. Ignore the problem. B. Throw the shellfish in the garbage. C. Serve the shellfish to the dishwashers. D. Cook the shellfish for 5 extra minutes. The correct answer is option B. Throw the shellfish in the garbage. If you are preparing a shellfish dish and the clams and mussels are open prior to cooking, you should throw the shellfish out. Open clams and mussels are a sure sign of food spoilage. Therefore, it is important to throw such foods in the garbage. Question 20. Scombroid poisoning can be prevented by A. Buying your fish from a reputable dealer. B. Cooking the fish to the proper temperature. C. Making sure kitchen workers wash their hands. D. Cook fish within 24 hours of receiving in the restaurant. The correct answer is option A. Buying your fish from a reputable dealer. The only way to prevent scombroid poisoning is to follow proper temperature controls immediately after catching fish. For this reason, the restaurant manager should ensure that seafood such as tuna, dolphin, and bluefish are bought from a reputable dealer. Scombroid poisoning is caused by histamine produced after fish have been caught, so it cannot be removed after the fact by being cooked within 24 hours or by cooking to any temperature. Question 21. Which of the following items listed below is being properly stored in the refrigerator? A. Shellfish above fruit. B. Butter above shellfish. C. Milk below ground beef. D. Pineapples below raw chicken. The correct answer is option B. Butter above shellfish. Butter stored above shellfish is the item being stored correctly in the refrigerator. It is important that all potentially hazardous foods be stored in a manner in which the most hazardous food is stored below the least hazardous food. For this, raw meats and fish should never be stored above fruits, butter, and dairy products. Question 22. What is the maximum amount of time that fresh poultry can be kept in the refrigerator without having to cook the meat? A. 1 to 2 days. B. 2 to 3 days. C. 3 to 4 days. D. 1 week. The correct answer is option A. 1 to 2 days. Fresh poultry should only be kept for up to 1 to 2 days in the refrigerator before cooking. This significantly reduces the chances for cross contamination in the refrigerator as well as reducing the chances for foodborne pathogens to become a problem in the raw meat. Question 23. Food safety begins at what stage in the restaurant process? A. Ordering. B. Receiving. C. Storage. D. Prep. The correct answer is option B. Receiving. Food safety begins during the receiving stage of the restaurant process. This ensures that all goods that enter the restaurant are compliant. Question 24. Bacteria that cause foodborne illness can often be killed by which means of cooking? A. Sun drying. B. Cooking the food. C. Serving the food cold. D. Adding acid to the food. The correct answer is option B. Cooking the food. Cooking food is the method for killing bacteria that cause foodborne illness. To make sure bacteria have been properly killed during the cooking process, make sure to cook the food to the recommended temperature. Question 25. Alligator, possum, or other exotic meats can be served in your restaurant as long as A. The customer signs a no liability statement. B. The meat comes from an approved USDA meat plant. C. The meat has been cooked to the required temperature. D. All of the above. The correct answer is option B. The meat comes from an approved USDA meat plant. Alligator, possum, and other exotic meats can be served in a restaurant as long as the meat comes from an approved USDA meat plant. While these meats might seem bizarre, as long as they are processed by an approved plant under the control of the USDA, it is perfectly fine to serve these meats in a restaurant. Question 26. A dial-faced thermometer used in a restaurant kitchen should have a temperature range of what values? A. 0 degrees Fahrenheit to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 10 degrees Fahrenheit to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 32 degrees Fahrenheit to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. D. 50 degrees Fahrenheit to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is option A, 0 degrees Fahrenheit to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. A dial face thermometer found in the kitchen should have a range of 0 degrees Fahrenheit to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. This ensures that all cooking and storage temperatures associated with cooking can be measured using the thermometer. Question 27. A USDA grade for a meat product concerns the A. Price of the meat, B. Quality of the meat, C. The microbial load of the meat, D. The required temperature at which you must cook the meat. The correct answer is option B. Quality of the meat. A USDA grade for a meat product concerns the quality the meat. A USDA grade has nothing to do with the safety of the product, just the quality of the fat marbling within the meat. Question 28. The presence of ice crystals on top of ice cream in the freezer is a sign of A. Water, B. Refreezing, C. Overchilling, D. New ice cream. The correct answer is option B. Refreezing. The presence of ice crystals on top of ice cream in the freezer is a sign of refreezing. This is an indicator that the ice cream has been in the restaurant for too long and is too old to serve. The correct action is to throw the ice cream away. Question 29. A large section of mozzarella cheese has a blue moldy substance attached. The correct action is to A. Cut the moldy section away, B. Throw the entire piece of cheese away, C. Throw away the entire piece of cheese and everything that was stored next to it, D. None of the above. The correct answer is option D, none of the above. You should throw the entire piece of cheese away if there is any blue mold on the cheese. While you might be able to cut away the visible portion of the mold, the entire piece of cheese has certainly been compromised with the mold. The correct action is to throw any spoiled food away. Throwing out everything that was stored next to the contaminated cheese is unnecessary if all items have been packaged correctly for storage. Question 30. An individual comes to the kitchen door offering to sell some fish they caught in the river hours earlier. The correct action to take is A. Turn them away and do not buy the fish. B. Determine where and when the fish was caught before buying it. C. Ask for references at other restaurants before buying anything from them. D. None of the above. The correct answer is option A. Turn them away and do not buy the fish. You should turn the individual away from the restaurant. While the quality of the fish might be fantastic, this source of food is not an acceptable supplier, making the food illegal to use in the kitchen. Question 31. A crate of milk is taken off the delivery truck with a balloon appearance and an expired sell by date. The appropriate action to take is A. Sell the milk on the street. B. Use the milk to make ice cream. C. Refuse the milk and send it back. D. Try to get a low price for the milk. The correct answer is option C. Refuse the milk and send it back. If a crate of milk comes off the delivery truck and the milk carton is ballooned with an expired sell-by date, you should refuse the milk and send it back. The milk should not enter the restaurant and you should inform the driver of the condition of the milk. Question 32. The highest temperature that food should reach while in the refrigerator is A. 40 degrees Fahrenheit, B. 45 degrees Fahrenheit, C. 50 degrees Fahrenheit, D. 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is option A. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The highest temperature that food should reach while in the refrigerator is 40 degrees Fahrenheit, since the lower limit of the danger zone is 41 degrees Fahrenheit. All foods in the refrigerator should be kept at a temperature no higher than 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Question 33. Your restaurant runs out of snapper and there is a fish store across the street. The fish store sells snapper. The correct action to take is A. Close the restaurant. B. Buy the fish from across the street. C. Tell your customer you have run out of fish. D. Sell the catfish as snapper and tell your customers it's snapper. The correct answer is option B. Buy fish from across the street. If your restaurant runs out of snapper and there is a fish store across the street, it is perfectly fine to go across the street and purchase some fish. A fish store approved as a food retail store is a perfectly fine place to buy fish. While more expensive, there is no reason to feel you need to remove the snapper from your menu if you do not want to. Question 34. How many days can bacon be stored safely in a refrigerator? A. 2 days. B. 7 days. C. 10 days. D. 1 month. The correct answer is option B. 7 days. Bacon can be stored in a refrigerator safely for up to 7 days. To avoid spoilage, cook your bacon when the 7-day limit has been reached and store the cooked bacon in the refrigerator. Question 35. Which of the following methods does the FDA recommend when choosing a food supplier? A. Using private investigators. B. Better Business Bureau. C. Food Safety Foundation. D. Good manufacturing practices. The correct answer is option D. Good manufacturing practices. The FDA recommends that you use GMPs when choosing a food supplier. Good manufacturing practices will give you a good sense of how reputable a food supplier truly is. Question 36. Which of the listed goods should be returned to the supplier upon inspection? A. Cans are rusty. B. Chicken is firm to the touch. C. Fruit comes into the restaurant at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. D. The milk has 10 days until the expiration date. The correct answer is option A. Cans are rusty. Cans that are rusty should be returned to the supplier upon inspection, since rusty cans are a sign that the canned food is old or has been stored in an environment not suitable for GMPs. It is suggested that you return such items to the supplier. Question 37. If foods have passed their expiration date in the dry storage area of the kitchen, then the food should be A. Thrown away, B. Used immediately, C. Donated to charity, D. Used for staff meal. The correct answer is option A. Throw away. If food has passed its expiration date in the dry storage area of the kitchen, then the food should be thrown away. While you might be tempted to use the food for a staff meal, it is best that you do not take a chance with the health and well-being of the staff and throw the food out. Question 38. A fish has been accepted into the restaurant. The eyes are cloudy and the flesh smells like ammonia. What is the proper action to take? A. Throw the fish away. B. Cook the fish until it is 165 degrees Fahrenheit. C. Cook the fish until it is well done. D. Freeze the fish until it smells better. The correct answer is option A. Throw the fish away. You should throw the fish away if it has cloudy eyes and the flesh smells like ammonia. These two signs are very good indicators that the fish has turned rotten. To avoid any foodborne illness, you should throw the fish away. Question 39. Your restaurant is closed on Sunday and Monday. When you return on Tuesday, the temperature of the refrigerator is 51 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct action is to A. Have the refrigerator fixed. B. Save all non-perishable food left in the refrigerator. C. Throw away all the perishable or spoiled food in the refrigerator. D. All of the above. The correct answer is option D. All of the above. If you return on Tuesday to find the refrigerator is broken, you should take all of the listed actions. First, you should call a repairman to fix the broken refrigerator. Second, you should throw away all the perishable or spoiled food in the refrigerator. In kitchens, it is common to find non-perishable foods in a refrigerator, such as a sealed can of pickles. If this is the case, then you can save such foods provided the containers have not been opened and are in the same state that you will find them in the dry storage area of your kitchen. Question 40. How far should all foods be stored off the floor of the kitchen? A. 1 foot. B. 2 inches. C. 4 inches. D. 6 inches. The correct answer is option D. 6 inches. Foods should be stored off the floor of a kitchen by at least 6 inches. Any height below 6 inches will make the food susceptible to cross contamination, physical hazards, and rodents. Question 41. What action should be taken if a perishable food is received within the danger zone? A. Send the food back. B. Throw the food away. C. Cook the food immediately. D. Serve the food immediately. The correct answer is option A. Send the food back. If food is received within the danger zone, the correct action to take is to send the food back to the supplier. This is true for all perishable foods. Question 42. When using a system of first in, first out, which food should be used first? A. Newest. B. Oldest. C. Coldest. D. Nicest looking. The correct answer is option B. Oldest. When using a system of FIFO, you should always use the oldest product first. This ensures that foods do not remain in your kitchen for extended periods of time. Question 43. Foods can be stored in a refrigerator for how many days? A. 2 days. B. 5 days. C. 7 days. D. Depends on the food. The correct answer is option D. Depends on the foods. Foods can be stored in a refrigerator for a specific period of time depending on the food. To find these values, consult the websites of the FDA and USDA. Question 44. The kitchen runs out of the listed items. Which items cannot be purchased from the local grocery store? A. Salt. B. Soda. C. Crackers. D. Roast beef. The correct answer is option D. Roast beef. If the kitchen runs out of roast beef, it is not acceptable to purchase this item from the local grocery store. The reason is due to the fact that saltines, salt, and soda are all packaged goods from approved manufacturers. Sliced roast beef that has been opened or cooked in the supermarket is an unapproved source for use in a restaurant. Question 45. According to national standards, the maximum cold storage time for macaroni salad is A. 1 to 2 days, B. 3 to 5 days, C. 7 to 10 days, D. 1 week. The correct answer is option B. 3 to 5 days. The maximum cold storage time for macaroni salad is 3 to 5 days. Storing and serving macaroni salad for more than this amount of time can cause harmful bacteria to grow to dangerous levels, even in the refrigerator. Question 46. Which of the following items is strictly prohibited from being stored in the dry food storage area of the restaurant? A. Flour. B. Pesticides. C. Canned goods. D. Cleaning agents. The correct answer is option B. Pesticides. Pesticides are strictly prohibited from being stored with other goods in the dry storage area of the restaurant. While cleaning agents are always recommended to be stored in another area of the kitchen, it is perfectly fine to store cleaning agents in a dry storage area provided They are isolated and do not pose a risk to contaminating foods in dry storage. At no time should you store pesticides in the dry storage area of your kitchen. Question 47. According to national standards, the maximum cold storage time for chicken salad is A. 1 to 2 days, B. 2 to 3 days, C. 3 to 5 days, D. 1 week. The correct answer is option C. 3 to 5 days. The maximum cold storage time for chicken salad is 3 to 5 days. Since bacteria can grow in the chicken salad even while refrigerated, it is recommended that you do not keep chicken salad prepared for more than 3 to 5 days. Question 48. The owner finds a natural spring of water while driving to the restaurant and collects 2 gallons of water. The proper action to take is A. Filter the water. B. Throw the water away. C. Use the water for cooking. D. Boil the water for 10 minutes. The correct answer is option B. Throw the water away. If the owner brings water into the restaurant from a natural spring, the correct procedure is to throw the water away. While the boiling process might kill microbes, there is still a great possibility that chemical hazards can be found in the water. For this reason, it is important to use municipal water or bottled water only in the restaurant. Question 49. The following meat is not an acceptable meat to be served in a restaurant. A. Rat. B. Squirrel. C. Elephant. D. None of the above. The correct answer is option D. None of the above. None of the meats listed can be considered non-consumable in a restaurant. While you might not want to eat rat as long as the meat comes from an approved plant that is under the inspection of the USDA. It is technically possible to serve any form of meat in your restaurant, no matter how bizarre or off-putting it might seem. Question 50. A prepared fruit salad should be stored at what temperature? A. 25 degrees Fahrenheit. B. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. C. 41 degrees Fahrenheit. D. 45 degrees Fahrenheit. The correct answer is option B. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. A prepared fruit salad should be stored at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below. This temperature assures that the fruit salad will not become susceptible to foodborne pathogens. Question 51. When storing food currently at room temperature, it must be cooled from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit in how many hours? A. 1 hour. B. 2 hours. C. 4 hours. D. 6 hours. The correct answer is option C. 4 hours. Foods must be cooled from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit in 4 hours or less, while this time limit is the maximum amount of time it should take to cool food. Your goal should be to reduce the temperature of the food as quickly as possible. Question 52. When you are receiving a delivery of food for your establishment, it is important that you A. Refrigerate the food, B. Sign the delivery slip, C. Have the cooks inspect the food, D. Make sure the delivery is acceptable. The correct answer is option D. Make sure the delivery is acceptable. When you are receiving a delivery of food, it is important that you make sure the delivery is acceptable. This task should not be performed by cooks unless they have received formal training in food safety from the local Department of Health. Question 53. Which of the following cooling methods is an unacceptable method for cooling food? A. Using an ice wand. B. Adding ice cubes to the food. C. Using a plastic bag filled with ice cubes. D. Placing the food in a shallow dish, the refrigerator. The correct answer is option C. Using a plastic bag filled with ice cubes. Using a plastic bag filled with ice cubes is not an acceptable method for cooling food in a restaurant. If the plastic was to tear while cooling the food, this would introduce a physical hazard to the food, forcing you to throw the food away. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share it with your family and friends.